Alright, I've been thinking about it for a while, and if you don't know, Darth Maul is by far my favorite Sith in the universe. And today I kind of wanted to talk about how Darth Maul would absolutely obliterate the Rey trilogy. Now, what am I talking about here? I'm talking about the Rey Skywalker saga. If you don't know, it's episode 7, 8, and 9 of the Skywalker saga. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is purely because I love Darth Maul, and I hate the Rey trilogy. I think it's dog shit. I think it's one of the worst series I've ever watched of movies. Just the 3 at the end. I think they're terrible. All of them. So, for this theory, we're gonna kind of present the way Darth Maul lives throughout the franchise, and pretty much go under a few assumptions here. Now, the assumption, if Darth Maul were to live here, is based off if he doesn't duel Obi-Wan on Tatooine. Now, how this would go, I would kind of, as a band-aid fix, let's just theorize here, using imagination. Darth Maul goes to Tatooine, can't find Obi-Wan Kenobi, spends a lot of his years on Tatooine. Eventually, when he's about to find Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke end up leaving the planet, and then that triggers the whole A New Hope sort of scenario. Meanwhile, Darth Maul realizes it's too late for him to get his revenge, backs out in the background, and he decides to wait a lot of things out. And by waiting a lot of things out, he ends up getting involved with a lot of the crime families, as he done in the Clone Wars, so it would be safe to assume he'd be fairly well versed in the crime families in Star Wars. So he would no doubt get access to the most modern information possible in the Star Wars universe, finding out about the First Order, finding out about the Resistance, finding out about Rey being a Force wielder due to people maybe seeing her use the Force either on Jakku, or if she gets, off Jakku at some point because of the Finn situation, we could maybe even see a situation where Rey uses the Force and a crime member sees the Force being used, or hears it through the grapevine. Rumor goes around, Darth Maul wants to find this Force wielder. And if Kylo Ren can sense a Force wielder, I'm pretty sure Darth Maul is going to be able to. Now, with that being said, Darth Maul also has a very strong sense of balance in the Force, and no doubt he'd be able to sense when it's tipping and when strong Force wielders are nearby, as he is able to in the Clone Wars. Now, with that being said, under these sort of band-aid assumptions, I think Darth Maul would slaughter everyone in the trilogy. I don't even think it's close. I don't even think there's any competition whatsoever. First of all, let's go under the assumption he's using the crime families for information and not as a power source. So, he would naturally have to 1v everyone in the trilogy. I think this is still very easy for Darth Maul. Let's not get into the fact that he was able to escape a Star Cruiser during a Republic Cruiser, I believe it's called, in the Clone Wars. He was able to just pretty much leave it, kill all the clones in there without a lightsaber during his escape. No problems. Even kind of pushing away Ahsoka during the fight. So I think it's very impressive that he was able to do that with a trained Clone Wars squadron. And as we know, the First Order is very big dum-dum. None of them are really good at aiming, as stormtroopers don't really have notorious aim. But aside from that, other than numbers, they have nothing on Maul. If Maul shows up to a First Order ship that's at the landing bay, let's say, it's at a helipad situation, I don't even know what it is, just a landing bay, I guess. If he was able to sneak his way onto any one of these ships, as I'm sure it's possible, considering Han Solo did it during the height of the Empire, I have no reason to believe that Darth Maul wouldn't be able to find some sort of ship that would be able to falsify information so that he would be able to board a Kylo Ren's vessel, pretty much, or a Snoke's ship. I can't remember the name. Maybe it's I can't remember the name, actually. But if Darth Maul is able to find a way onto that ship, you best believe he's killing everyone in that ship. Not only would he be able to use mind tricks in order to force people, but he would just simply need to walk in, force choke every stormtrooper he sees until he eventually gets to the controls of everything. And once he got to the controls, that ship is pretty much screwed. Almost every time they get to the controls during any Star Wars film, it's pretty much GG for that ship. If Darth Maul gets there, he would no doubt find a way to sabotage the ship, and if he sabotages the ship, let's just assume he would eventually find Kylo Ren via following his presence in the Force. And if this is Kylo Ren we're talking about, Kylo Ren lost to... Oh, well, he didn't lose to Finn, but he came close to losing to Finn in a lightsaber duel. And Finn's a untrained stormtrooper, keep in mind here. He loses to Rey, which she never, ever wielded a sword a day in her life, alright? Until that moment against fighting Kylo Ren. If Kylo Ren's losing to that in The Force Awakens, Maul had a very close fight to Ahsoka. You could arguably say he won, and Ahsoka is pretty much one of the hardest duelists to beat because she has two different styles being dual-wielded. Maul also stood toe-to-toe with a prime Darth Sidious, where Darth Sidious was at the height of his power. Darth Maul has also fought Obi-Wan Kenobi multiple occasions, and he's beaten him in the majority of them. It's not far-fetched to say Darth Maul would absolutely whoop Kylo Ren's ass, and it wouldn't even be close. Kylo Ren might have the Force stop advantage, but if Darth Maul is able to deal with stuff like Force lightning and he's gone through all the Sith torturing, I'm sure he'd be able to find a way to counteract the Force stopping. And the Force stopping, it's not like we've seen Kylo Ren Force stop someone, cut him in half. It seems like there might even be a restriction there to the Force stopping. Now, could he use Force stop on Darth Maul would be the main question, because Darth Maul would most likely have his guard up completely with the presence of another Force wielder. I think Darth Maul, even in his arrogant state, would be smart enough to avoid any sort of Force tricks Kylo Ren would have, if any, and he would no doubt overwhelm Kylo Ren very early on, because Kylo Ren sucks at dueling. If we just compare any of their fights, Kylo Ren swings his lightsaber like it's over 100 pounds. Like, when he's swinging his lightsaber at Rey during that waterfall scene, or whatever you want to say, in this, I don't even want to remember the film, but The Rise of Skywalker, he's swinging it around like it's taking all of his effort in every swing. Darth Maul effortlessly uses two different styles, no problem. The Darksaber, dual-wielding with another lightsaber, or his iconic twin blade. He has no issues doing either one of them, and he showcased proficiency in both. So, if he walked up to Kylo Ren with any lightsaber, I think it's wraps. I think it would honestly be almost identical to an Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul situation when they were in their old age. I think Darth Maul, even in his old age, would be able to whoop his ass. Darth Maul in his old age, don't forget, even in Star Wars Rebels, defeated in the Inquisitors, which you could argue are on Kylo Ren's level, and he blinded Kanan. Of course, you know, Kanan has plot armor, so he has to survive, but outside of that, he didn't really lose a fight in Rebels other than to Obi-Wan Kenobi, you know? And that's a prime old Obi-Wan Kenobi, you know? Is what I'm gonna go with there to excuse why he died, because I have a bias towards Darth Maul. But outside of Kylo Ren, who else would contest? Snoke is not doing anything at all. We know that. Snoke would just get cut in half. He would honestly probably crumble away, just in the mere presence of Darth Maul. Then Darth Maul would probably have control over the First Order. If he had control over the First Order once killing both Kylo Ren and Snoke, I doubt it would take him long to take care of the Resistance, considering they have access to so much firepower, being the planet Death Star, whatever it's called. The First Order's base, can't remember the name of it because it was probably something dumb. But Darth Maul had access to that sort of weaponry. He's wiping out every single important planet, including the planet that Leia would be on. And if not, he would definitely cause a space battle between the Home One, where Leia and Old Akbar no doubtably would be, and he would ensure the demise of the Resistance there. I don't even think it would be close. And the Resistance in The Force Awakens specifically, and this is during early Force Awakens we're talking about here, movie situation. Darth Maul either he goes in, has a badass scene like Darth Vader, in a reference to the films, obviously, A New Hope, just goes in there and starts slaughtering the rebels. He would also kind of just blow up the ship pretty easily, I would assume, with a bunch of Star Destroyers and control over the ship that Kylo Ren and Snoke previously occupied. With this in mind, he could also play mind games, even though Leia has plot armor and is able to survive space. Sure, we could have that ability. I think he'd be able to emotionally destroy someone like Princess Leia with saying he killed their son, Kylo Ren, you know? And if you don't know, big spoiler, the movie's 10 years old, don't care at this point. Yeah, Kylo Ren is the son of Princess Leia, Han Solo. I've no doubt Kylo Ren would absolutely, Darth Maul would absolutely not mind control, but just fuck with Princess Leia's mind in terms of murdering her one and only child. That's like the easiest layup that he could do. He's done it in the Clone Wars, he's done it in Rebels, he does mind tricks in terms of just being smarter than you. That's how Darth Maul does. You know, and with that being said, we do know that Darth Maul, in terms of combat ability, smokes everyone on the home one. There's not even close to anyone. Like, who's contesting it? Poe Dameron? You know what I mean? Like, Darth Maul goes in there, force chokes everyone. If he doesn't need to force choke, or if he doesn't want to force choke them, he cuts them all in half, either with 2 lightsabers or 1. You know, he would most likely pick up the lightsaber that Kylo Ren uses and use it to his combat prowess, and would no doubt also cause mind tricks on Princess Leia. Now, with that being said, we're now into the part where the only people really left would be a Palpatine and Rey, you know? And if we look at those two, Rey's inexperienced. During this time, she wouldn't really have anyone training him, even though she didn't really get anyone training him. She just knows how to do mind tricks. But even early on, assuming that she has the ability to duel Kylo Ren, somehow, instead of 3 strikes to kill Kylo Ren, it would take 4 to take out Rey. I mean, Rey, early on, didn't have much going other than Jedi mind tricks. That's not going to work on Darth Maul. And, yeah, after that, I think it's just wraps. There's no one else that really contests with Maul, you know? Assuming Rey somehow gets a lightsaber, assuming she maybe gets called by the Force to the lightsaber and uses the lightsaber instead of throwing it away. How dare you make me use Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, alright? You know, like she did in the movie. Let's just assume she gets the lightsaber. That's not gonna do anything. And no doubt, Darth Maul, at this point, has conquered the First Order and conquered the Resistance. It would basically be an army versus Rey, but assuming a one-on-one, just because Darth Maul would be that guy to just say, fuck it, let's duel. Yeah, he would just absolutely slaughter Rey. Not even, it wouldn't even be close. Rey's first time picking up a lightsaber would be dueling Darth Maul. And Darth Maul, no doubt, with or without his dual-bladed lightsaber, smokes Rey Skywalker. It's not even close. Like, Darth Maul would no doubt be able to overwhelm her just with the sheer pressure that he provides in the fight. He's very aggressive. He's very fast. Even in Rebels, he was quite speedy. And he was also able to take out the Inquisitors. So, are we saying that Rey just knows more about lightsaber dueling than the Inquisitors? I think not, you know? And even though Darth Maul would be even slightly older, he still would most likely have the edge everywhere. There's nothing she would be able to do. Even how rapidly she progressed in The Force Awakens with her Force powers, being able to do Jedi mind tricks, use the Force without ever knowing what it was, being called to it by the Force ghosts, Darth Maul would still, regardless of the combat itself, would still fuck with her head mentally. Most likely egoing it, laughing, breaking her will, you know, absolutely obliterating her spirit, you know, especially because Rey is such a goody two-shoes. I doubt it would take much for Maul to really break her, pretty much just killing one of the innocent lives. pretty simple, you know? And let's just assume that somehow, because of plot armor, Poe Dameron lives or someone, and they escape and they're trying to find people to maybe combat Maul during this sort of Force Awakens episode here. I mean, Darth Maul would be able to capture anyone, and then after the capturing, he would just threaten them to Rey, and then Rey would drop lightsaber, and then Maul would have no problem just swiftly killing Rey. It'd be that simple. Now, after this event, this would probably be when Palpatine comes into play in an interesting redemption arc, where Palpatine would be, I'm going to avenge my granddaughter. I've been a clone the whole time. Very interesting way to introduce the plot. I know I'm a genius, but this Palpatine is weak and shit. Now, in terms of power level, sure, it's Force Lightning, absolutely crazy. However, this is a case where Darth Maul would no doubt pull every single stop he would have to get his final utmost revenge on Palpatine. Now, would Palpatine have the upper hand in terms of mind tricks? Yes, but this is an old, wise Darth Maul who has been in the shadows. He's been thinking about how to, you know, combat enemies. He took over the First Order. He took out the Resistance. He even took out the last Jedi, being a Rey Skywalker at the time, with a planned Luke Skywalker. You know, the Palpatine situation, I imagine Palpatine would probably try to enchant Darth Maul into joining him, but I think this time around Darth Maul would know the better, and he would know the better thing to do, and he would just use his brain and betray Palpatine, you know, and almost the same way Rey does, you know? No doubt Darth Maul would do a similar thing to the Clone Wars, where I've built all of this in the hopes of returning to your side, you know? But instead, this time, he just whips out a gat and shoots him. Okay, maybe not whips out the gat and shoots him, but he would no doubt have a plan in order to kill Palpatine at Palpatine's least expecting moment. And with all that being done, he's killed everyone in the franchise. Realistically, I think Palpatine's only threat here would be the Force Lightning. However, if Rey is able to block it effortlessly, I think Darth Maul at this point in his career would be able to block it as well. So I'd pick Darth Maul in this. I think Darth Maul gets it done. 29-20. No, I'm joking. It's not an MMA video. If you don't know, I do videos on MMA. Just saying, if you're interested in that, I do picks and predictions on every single card. A little segue, little you know, shameless plug. Anyways, getting back into it. Darth Maul. Yeah, he just clears Palpatine. I do think he would. I don't think he would do it in terms of the dueling ability, and I don't think he would do it in terms of the mind tricks and everything. But I do think he would do it in terms of the betrayal. Because if there's one thing Sith are known for, it's the apprentice finally killing the master. It happens in almost every Rule of Two, including Darth Vader's, where he takes out Palpatine and assumes power for the 10 seconds he is left. I think this would be a poetic way to end it. I especially think Darth Maul could be able to do it. You know, third time's a charm. First time he got accepted as an apprentice, he gets left for dead. The second time, shows up with an entire galactic underworld and Mandalore at his side. And he kind of, you know, loses his brother and mother in the process. This last and final third time as a charm, I think he would be smart enough to get his revenge via any means necessary, even if that means he'd have to submit to Palpatine for moments. But I do think Darth Maul would have the wit at this point to get one over on Palpatine, especially proving it since he slaughters the First Order, slaughtered the Republic. Now, this leaves the last one. The last one being an old Luke Skywalker. Now, after he found the charge kit for R2-D2 and plugged it into a wall, I know, crazy thing to think of in The Force Awakens, but after he found the charge kit and plugged it into R2, he'd be able to find a map to where Luke Skywalker is, and he would no doubt try to end the Jedi Order once and for all. Now, this would be prime old Darth Maul versus a old castaway from the Force Luke Skywalker. Now, I think it sounds obvious. Darth Maul would clear Luke Skywalker. Now, don't get me wrong, Prime Luke Skywalker is a different story, but we're talking about an old one, cut away from the Force. And because this is my perfect world where Darth Maul has already done everything, he would have proven by now that he'd be able to handle an old Luke Skywalker who doesn't even have a lightsaber. He would no doubt have a stick, like a Master Yoda, and he would no doubt get cut down swiftly, and I think acceptingly, you know? I think it would be an interesting theory if maybe Luke Skywalker gets a bunch of resistance, he gets a lightsaber, he shows up to try to defeat Maul once and for all, after Maul defeats the Emperor Palpatine, and Darth Maul assumes control over the Senate or something, right? And under that universe, I think Darth Maul still wins. And the reason why is because the only thing we've seen the good, the strong old Luke Skywalker do is an astral projection. And that's it. He didn't duel anyone in his old age. He's not teaching anyone in his old age. You could argue Rey. He didn't really teach Rey for that long. And let's be honest, they were really trying to push that Rey was teaching him more than anything, alright? Just saying. But even under the circumstance, I think Darth Maul still wins. He would swipe or sense that it's an astral projection, and then he would just find Luke Skywalker, and then he would just kill Luke Skywalker. No doubt already knowing where his location is. But yeah, that's basically my theory. Wanted to do something a little fun, a little wacky. I love Darth Maul. Favorite Sith of all time. Not even close. There's a few ones that are pretty high up there. But I just think it's interesting to theorize villains we've had in the past to villains we have in the present. And it's an unfortunate truth that the Rey Saga is technically the present in the Star Wars universe. I know it sucks, but if Darth Maul did come back, I think he would no doubt slaughter every single one of them. I don't even think it's close. I don't think he struggles with any of them. I think he manipulates 99% of them. And the ones that do survive, that wield the Force, get absolutely obliterated, because none of them have any sense of aura in the films. So why would they have any sense of aura when facing Darth Maul, someone who's no doubt already made them pee their pants? Alright, but that's all I wanted to say. Made it to the end of the video. I want to thank you for watching, and as always, I hope you have a good day.